Hi, welcome back and thanks for stopping in to check this video out. If you watched the last one, it was the chassis build for this Avante Black Special Edition, and in this video I'm going to cut the body out, paint it, do the driver figure, cockpit and put the decals on and get it finished. So let's get on with it. Step 38 is starting with the cockpit and driver figure. The helmet needs fixing together and 5mm cutting off the front of the cockpit. So to cut the cockpit out, I've just measured that with a steel rule, 5mm, taped it off to mask it and then coloured it in with black texture, so I've got something to remove, nice straight line. And the helmet, I'll just bring that over. So as you can see, it's together and I've glued it in addition to screwing it, and I've used some of this Tamiya putty which I've had on the shelf for a while, never used it, to fill up the hole where the screw goes in, and then I'll sand that. I think it will dry quite quickly because it's solvent based, but I'll perhaps leave that till tomorrow. There's the cockpit ready for primer, and I just used the side cutters to take the bulk of the plastic material away, leaving about 1mm, and then filed the last bit with the little Tamiya flat file, and then finished with some 1500 automotive wet and dry. Put a little radius on each side. Happy with that. Step 39 is cutting the body out and drilling the holes. 3 parts, so you've got the under tray, the main body and the wing, and I'm going to make a start with the holes while the body is nice and rigid, then I'll cut it out. The body parts are cut out and ready for paint. That took me quite a while, always does. Canopy masked off using flexible tape for the edge to get that line. Under tray, TS29 on the cockpit and TS38 for the helmet with the black underneath. Step 40, painting the body parts, and the manual suggests using PS31 smoke or PS5 black. I didn't fancy any of those, so I decided on gunmetal PS23. So let's get this film off and see how it looks. So in case you're wondering, 3 cans, which equates to about 9 coats. This under tray was probably the easiest thing to cover and didn't have any sort of tricky bits to try and get the paint to go into. The main top of the body and the wing, on the other hand, different story altogether. I think the wing ended up with maybe 12 coats of paint. I'll show you that in a minute. Hopefully it looks all right. I did have a bit of extra tape on the underneath there, which you probably noticed, and that was just because I didn't want to scuff through it while I had it on the bench working, and sanding and just fettling it. All right, main body part. Maybe I'll take the window mask out first. making a start on step 42, putting the decals on. I've ignored the instructions and gone straight for the wing because I want to get that out of the way and put on. But so far I've done the main sticker, but there's obviously the numbers on the side, and I want to just check how the wing sits on the car before I stick those on. So I'm going to go ahead and do steps 45 and 46 and install it so I can get those numbers nice and straight. So here's the parts for that. So there's the decals on the wing and the wing on the buggy, looking awesome. Now you can adjust the downforce with the angle of this wing. At the moment I've got it on that setting, and you can go all the way up to maximum attack there, which would give you so much downforce I think it'd do a wheelie. Anyway, I'm going to go with the 5th setting there. Just working on the main body decals, thought I'd give you an update. So I've done the tricky curved bits using the soapy water and heat method, and it's come out pretty well. And if you haven't already seen it, or if you're unsure how to do it, I did a video a year or so ago on a BBX body, paint and decals, and I showed how I stick those on. I think it's about 10 minutes in on that video if you're interested. Another thing I forgot to mention, masking off this cockpit was really difficult, or I found it really hard, having not done one before, and they don't supply a mask for that. So I masked it from the outside using the Tamiya flexible tape, I think the 3mm, the thin one, and got that line just right on the outside, and then masked it on the inside following that line, because it just seems to be a lot easier to do that and follow it, if that makes sense, and then peel the outside off and then kind of fill it in with masking tape. So okay, so there's the body finished. Just thought I'd show you before it gets mounted. I do need to paint the cockpit and put the decals on the driver figure, but all in all that's come out really well. Step 43 done, installing the under tray. Back to step 38, which is the cockpit and driver helmet. I've just got the stickers left to do now. I have painted it slightly differently. So I've done red suit instead of blue, and I've painted the seat belts blue, and the whole cockpit's black. I didn't want any grey on there, I just wanted to keep it more stealthy looking. Let's get those decals on. And there's the finished cockpit with all 18 decals installed before the body goes on. The last step, 44, installing the chassis braces. The body's already on. Here we go. Well, there it is, my Tamiya Avante Black Special Edition, but painted in gunmetal. If you haven't already subscribed, it'd be great if you did. You can leave me a like, comment, let me know what you think of the colour, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.